There it is. Okay, great. So our next presentation is by Taylor Melton, who is originally from the US and is currently in Taiwan, teaching in the Department of Applied Foreign Languages at Overseas Chinese University in Taichung, where our last World Congress was held. And she is going to present on making avid readers out of reluctant readers, factors that motivate some students to finally embrace ER on Xreading. Taylor, please take it away.
All right. Okay. Hello. Good morning, everybody. Or I guess afternoon. I think you guys are a little ahead of me. My presentation is on, I said the factors for what I believe to motivate the students that originally did not participate in extensive reading, but then later did. And so I was interested in kind of finding out what might have been the reason behind that. So I'll go through a bit of my motivation, how I set up my class and what I did differently in the different semesters. And what I ended up doing was I've only had a chance to interview my students so far. So I haven't had a chance to actually do a questionnaire or anything else. So of course, any other suggestions you guys have of what I can do to bolster this would be fantastic. So I'll kind of share some of the key things that stuck out during the interviews and some potential pedagogical implications. So I had 3 students that really stuck out. So it was Danny, Kimberly, and Cynthia. And so in the fall semester, I had them do extensive reading on Xreading. And as you can see here, they had to do 60,000 words in the whole semester. Danny did none. He didn't even buy the Xreading. And Kimberly and Cynthia kind of started and then stopped. And they didn't really do much more. In the spring, however, all of them read quite a bit more, going over the 60,000. Actually, I got the percentages here of what they actually read. And so I was curious about these 3 and about what changed, what maybe potentially flipped the switch for them to not only do the reading, but actually read more than what they were assigned to do. So the questions I was looking at is, what motivated them to actually take Xreading and extensive reading seriously? What factors led to maybe reading more than what they were required to do? And are there any look at any changes I might be able to make as an educator to try to prevent reluctant readers and get those to actually jump started in the fall semester. So for my class setup, I teach English majors, and these 3 students, Danny was a freshman, the other 2 are juniors who are repeating a freshman class because they had failed it previously. They have like low English and motivations. I think I put them maybe around, or students in general for this class are between A1 and kind of A2. 1 or 2 might be a low B1. So I kind of got the range of all the students. The course itself was an English composition class. So we had to do a sentence to paragraph writing. And I decided to incorporate extensive reading into the class to kind of improve their input, maybe kind of fix some of the grammatical issues and get them thinking in English when they're writing. I also did a brief presentation with them a bit on acquisition and the importance of input, how extensive reading works, what we know about the benefits of it, improving vocabulary and grammar, and some people can get higher TOEIC scores or TOEFL. So hoping to let them know why we're doing it and what benefits they could get from it. I do extensive reading for Chinese. And so I also showed them an example of some written output I had done. One was before I knew about Xreading, another one about 4 months into doing Xreading. So they could see the clear difference about what extensive reading can do for improved grammar, vocab, and writing. We also had an introduction to Xreading. The local salesperson here in Taiwan actually did a 1-hour presentation in Chinese for them, showing them how to use the Xreading website and navigate it. So hopefully hope that would prevent some kids from being too overwhelmed or not knowing how to use it. So for the fall semester, I said I gave them a goal about 60,000 words for the whole semester, which averaged to about 4,000 words a week. I was interested in just not making too much pressure, not too much on them. Hopefully just get them started and I'll take it from there. It ended up being 20% of the final grade. I did it for that much because I do think it is that important to bolster just their natural writing ability. But I also hope that students that typically fail writing classes, this would give them a chance to do something non-writing to help their grades. They can get over that 60% threshold to pass if they had previously failed. Now, I did 30 minutes of silent sustained reading in every class. Classes are once a week for 2 hours. So, and I know many students from previous research on attitudes and motivations that, many people they say they lack time to read. So I thought, okay, well, I'll give them 30 minutes in class and that'll only hopefully give them maybe 20, 30 minutes outside of class during the week, make it a little bit more manageable. I continually giving them reminders about extensive reading, looking for only 98% comprehension. It needed to be easy, it needed to be fun. So that way they didn't kind of forget what exactly we're doing and how to make it the most beneficial for them. I also did extensive reading with the students. So I brought my own graded readers in, and while they were reading, I read as well, trying to be a good model to show them that I'll do it too. And I actually, sometimes I shared some of the books, what I was reading, and do for a few minutes about what was going on in the story to continue to motivate them. The midterm, after they took the midterm, I provided the current grade to the students. And I had one-on-one consultations, letting them know where their grade was and what they can do to fix it. And in the case of Cynthia and Kimberly, I said, in addition to jumping on the classwork, they had to do the X reading to pass the class because they were so low in points. And I said, if you don't do the X reading, then you will 100% fail. And with Danny, the other one, he was just on the border. I said, well, X reading is going to help make sure that you definitely get over that 60%. Additional things for the class in the fall semester. So I offered some extra credit for them. If they read 50,000 words by the midterm, I would just give them 100% on the midterm class. Same if they read 100,000 words by the final, then they could get 100% just for the final. I offered one, if they read 150,000 words, I just give them 100% for the whole class during the first semester. My goal was to try to motivate as many people as possible to jump on this and see the benefits and have it continue from there. I also said, even if they don't make these benchmarks, but anything they read over 60,000 will be offered as extra credit. The springs, so in this fall semester, a lot of people didn't do it. I think only about 70 out of 120 even purchased X reading, and only about half of those actually did the reading. So a lot of reluctant readers. So in the spring, I had this pretty much the same setup, a few slight differences. So I got rid of the 150,000 words. I thought, well, it is a writing class and they need to at least show that they can do some writing to pass. I also included a post-reading book review, and I taught them how to kind of write books. So usually about just 10 minutes afterwards to kind of, some studies showed some more linguistic awareness and output. And I also decided to have a competition. So I said for the 3 highest readers from all of my classes, I would take them out to a fine dining meal into a local restaurant in Taiwan, showed them some pictures of restaurants, which they seemed kind of excited at the idea. So then I talked to Danny by himself, and then the other two, Cynthia and Kimberly, were friends, and so I let them kind of do it together. And so here's some of the questions I'd asked. So where Danny didn't buy it at all, and so he basically said the reason why he didn't buy it was that this was his very first time reading English, and he wasn't sure how it would work, and does it actually help his English at all? And would it really help his writing? I think he had a hard time seeing the reading-writing connection, even though I did explain this to them. So why didn't you do the reading? This is for the fall semester. And so Danny just thought he could pass without it. And so he's like, oh, great, I'll highest I can get is 80%, that'll be enough. Kimberly said, she was like, I'm just lazy. It was too much work. And Cynthia also said it was too much work and I had a job every night. I also wanted to find out if they actually read a lot of Chinese on their own time, either before or after, to see if that might have been a factor. And so Danny said he loved reading. He read lots of books. Kimberly said she just liked reading comics in Chinese, and Cynthia really didn't care for reading at all. Okay. Also, did they pass the fall semester? Danny did pass, but he got just a 60%. So he just barely made it, and Kimberly and Cynthia both failed. So when getting to the spring semester, I was asking him, so what made them actually decide, okay, I'm going to do the Xreading and I'm going to at least get the 60%. And the main thing was that all of them, they did worry about their grade. Even though Danny passed, he wanted to get a higher amount. And Kimberly and Cynthia just said, we wanted to pass the class. We don't have to redo it a third time. But Danny did say that he thought that because I repeated it, I continued doing it again and was talking about the benefits again. He thought, okay, well, since Taylor is really behind this, maybe there's something to this, and I'll give it a shot. The post reading assignment, I asked them about those. I asked Kimberly and Cynthia if that was also an influence as well, and Kimberly said yes. And so 100%, she goes, that was one thing that made her decide that she had to do it, and she thinks that other students would do that too. Cynthia just said a little bit. A hard time. All right, so did the extra credit or the text exemption help you read more? And so all of them did say that yes, that was a factor in getting them to not only decide to do the Xreading, but read more than the initial 60,000. They wanted to be sure they would pass the class. As when they said in the conversations is that, well, in addition to that, as Danny says, it got interesting, and I wanted to know what happened next, and really enjoyed reading series of the same character. So that motivated him to read a few more books back to back. And with Kimberly as well, she said she found a lot of things that was interesting. It was easy to read. Cynthia, the only thing she said was that her part-time job stopped, and so she had the time and did it. Okay. Was the fine dining competition an influence? And I thought maybe it was. They seemed very excited about it when I mentioned it to them. But these three in particular just said, no, we just kind of forgot about it. We just wanted to read. So that showed not to be a factor for them, at least. And so the main takeaways I got from these students was that passing the class was the major motivating factor in at least getting them to initially start reading. And the post-reading assignment, in addition to helping them with just giving them linguistic output practice, it also kind of made them want to do that there. So I looked at it maybe as like with smoke, myself being a former smoker, for them, like, a few years down the line, we don't really care so much. But if you've got a negative impact that's going to happen right now, it makes it a little bit more real. So I think them actually having an assignment they had to do each class kind of gave a bit more urgency to do the reading rather than just, well, okay, it's 4 months away, we've got time. And in addition to that, I think the thing that drove them over the 60,000, part of it was that one of the extra points, but they really got into what they were reading. And I think that made it easier for them just to keep on going. And they said that they didn't really choose a number to stop at. It was just they got near the end. And actually all three of them got 60,000 within the first 6 weeks. So I think they got that and then kind of tapered it off a little bit. So based off of this, some general pedagogical implications would be maybe assign grades for the semester readings. I was trying my best to really make it as least stressful as possible and make it a fun thing, because so many things in this country are also about about grades and scores, and I was thinking maybe if I gave them light, easy reading and not too much stress, then it might prompt them more. But actually, that seemed to not be the case. And so actually giving the assignments motivated them more to do it, as well as the follow-up to the silent sustained reading, not only the linguistic output, but also that immediate motivation to do it. And then offering extra credit on top of that kind of would help them choose to continue to read more. So thank you. That's what I have so far. So if you guys have any other additional questions or any suggestions what I can do to improve this, then